Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about Blockwars 3, and more specifically, something I've been supposed to talk about for a long time, or at least I wanted to talk about for a long time. Finally time to talk about it. Why I dropped out of Blockwars 3. I actually don't know if I ever properly addressed it, but here we go either way. Anyways, Blockwars 3 was supposed to be, obviously, like a very fun event. It was Tubbo's first event. We had this, like, really cool, I grabbed the things here. Tubbo was, like, newcomer first event, super hype. You had this, like, purple team, which came out of nowhere, which for Blockwars only having 3 events was kind of insane. Misty was kind of carrying low-key in terms of, like, the crazy ads early on. First, Small Land, which is like one of those requested, obviously, MCC newcomers for a while, and then boom, Smance just playing Blockwars, which at the time was like actually insane. And then boom, here's a like a Slimesicle and crew. I forgot what it's called, JRWI. Just Roll With It podcast team with Misty, which ended up doing pretty bad because it's underpowered, and from this spawned a lot of changes, okay, internally. Look, initially, Blockwars, we were just kind of like, okay, we have an event and we can just kind of do what we want, and we just kind of make sure that it runs, and then we'll look into like balancing and whatnot afterwards. After this team, we took a different approach to game design, to balancing, etc. This team is the reason we looked into lower skilled players and how you can fix scoring and how team involvement should be fixed, etc. Where if you don't know, Construction initially was a fully team split point game, I think, or it was either fully team split with like a slight individual bonus. I don't remember if the individual bonus was already there. We changed it to be way more like significant because I think what ended up happening was I think Misty ended up getting like a top 10 or a top 5 individual build time and ended up placing like 25th because her team was obviously dead last. So yeah. We changed a bunch of stuff from this event. Blockwars 3 was a good start. Tubbo as well, like said, joining, which was really big for Blockwars at the time, obviously. And some other things as well, like Sam and Pickles also played in Craft, I think, ended up playing too. Yeah, Craft ended up playing as well. But more specifically, Sam, this is when we, kind of removed some of the Origins substitutes, or the, like, smaller creators substitutes, who were kind of there initially to just be able to have substitutes in general, and they were aware of this at the time. And, after 3 events, we realized, okay, we have enough players now where we will no longer need, like, this selection of players. So, in the case of Sam, since Sam had not played anything, I told him, you will for sure get in this next Blockwars, and afterwards, that'll be it. And he obviously was like, sure, I mean, I'd love to play Blockwars, so yeah, sure, I'll take it. So, that was another thing that happened. I think Craft and Pickles stuck around a little bit longer. I could be wrong, but I think they were in the Discord a little bit longer, but there's some other people who also ended up getting removed alongside Sam. Pickles only recently was, like, taken out of the, creator set of, like, Blockwars, or the main set of Blockwars, because obviously nowadays we are at such a point where this type of substitute, wouldn't really even be selected unless it's, like, an emergency to the power of 2 situation, in which I can just ask Origins either way. Anyways, to get into, the actual topic of today, let me lower the music a little bit, why I subbed out. Ignore that this is, like, super blurry because, look, obviously I wasn't around to make the freaking image. This is, like, super jankily made. I don't know what was going on here, but interesting. It's super blurry. It's, like, weird. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what happened. Anyways, what happened here is, I'll put up this tab. It's, I put it in here. Before this announcement, I don't remember this is the 26th. I don't remember what day that was, but it was the week of the event, leading up to the event. I had been stuck in bed for 3 days. With stuck in bed, I mean, like, if I left my bed, I would immediately throw up. Like, it was that bad. Like, I was stuck in bed for a long time. I was really worried, obviously, because, I didn't know what was going on. I was, like, super confused. I was like, I can't eat. I am sleeping, like, 20 hours every single day. Like, what's going on? Like, hello? Like, it was just miserable. It was bad. this is now a little while ago, so I don't specifically remember every single detail from it, but I remember that the only food that I was able to consume at the time was like a little like graham cracker, and barely that was able to be put in my system. Okay, it was bad. I was struggling. I did get some water obviously in as well because it's standard. But once this 3-day period was kind of over, and during the 3-day bed period as well, my right arm and leg were partially paralyzed, which, to put into perspective of how it felt, there's like the tingling feeling in that you have sometimes when you like sleep on your arm or something. I had that, but like pretty strong and like permanently, like it never went away. And I lost like slight control over my right leg and my right arm to the point where I couldn't walk normally. Like I was kind of stepping around the place. It was really odd. Still didn't know what was going on. A week after this, it still was there. Like the paralyzation, or sorry, not the paralyzation, the tingling feeling was still there permanently, but the like control kind of came back a little bit to the point where I went to the doctor. Usually I'm just like, oh, it'll go away. It'll go away eventually. I went to the doctor eventually. And at the doctor, they're just like, yeah, so what are you feeling? I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. They're like, okay, we have no idea what that is. We're going to send you to the neurologist. I'm like, what? Uh-oh. So I went to the hospital. That's where the neurologist is at. I went to the hospital first, before we get into this. First, got a little checkup where they did the same thing. It's like, okay, well, what's going on? Or it wasn't the it was the neurologist, yeah. Where first it was like a checkup thing with like a hospital doctor, whatever the frick, right? Where they're like, okay, what are you feeling? Let's do like some small tests, and they're like, okay, we have no idea what's going on. You're gonna have to go do an MRI scan. Now this is where we get into the interesting part. If you don't know what an MRI scan is, that's what it looks like roughly. It's one of these tube things that they kind of slide you into. Now, I think I've done probably 4 or 5 of these now. I have another one coming up in a couple months. So, yes, I have been going to the hospital somewhat frequently. It's not like every single week or every single month or anything, but like, I have to come back. There was a period when this first started where I think I went to the hospital about 7 times within like a month or 2, which was a lot because usually I go to the hospital like once every 5 years max, which is just to get some blood taken for some weird ass vaccination or get a vaccination. I don't fucking know. But this was a lot, okay? I hadn't been to the hospital this frequently, so I was like, okay, am I gonna be okay? And so yeah, the first scan that they did on the MRI thing was a brain scan, which means that you go into the machine like a decent bit, but not too far, because they only need your head. That one we first saw, there were results. I don't have the pictures of the results because I don't think I get sent those, but it was like this. It's like one of these like brain scans where they have multiple layers, except what was in the brain scan was that there was little white spots around. I think this might have been another. There's two ones, but they were looking at the brain scan. They were like, okay, we need more info because there was like white spots, whatever, blah blah blah. Was it? No, it might not have been. Either way, there was another scan, 2 of them actually, relative. I think it was at the same time because they did a brain scan and a like spinal cord scan. But this one I had to have contrast fluid in my system, which means that while I was laying on this like thing, like right here, I had to rotate my arm, and they just put like a needle like in my thing, and they're like, yeah, you're just gonna have contrast fluid in your system. I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I guess didn't really hurt. It was just kind of like, inconvenient. You feel it. It sucks a little bit. But eventually, I was like 3 scans in, I was shown one of these types of things where they have like it's like a stop motion type thing where they have like photos of like every single mini like layer. I don't know how big of a difference between every layer it is, but they like show you like the gradual like photos taken, and there were little white spots around the brain. I don't remember exactly what these white spots mean, because it's been a little bit. But for those of you who may know, that's not normal. That is bad. I do remember how that works. As far as I remember, so before I get into this, this is MS. I don't have this confirmed, but I was told that I probably have this, which is not fun because this is like autoimmune disease, which it's something that never goes away essentially because there's no cure for it. It doesn't exist yet. So I have this, possibly, maybe. They think. They don't know for sure, but they think, which is great. Thanks for the conclusion. That's why I have more scans as well, because they're kind of checking if it's like something weird where I only have it temporarily or if it's going to be like a lifelong thing. But I probably have this, according to the experts, okay? Not me assuming. It's not me typing on Google, hey, I feel this, and they're like, oh, you have cancer. Like, that's not how it works. Like, this is like medical professionals telling me you probably have this, which is not great. It's an autoimmune disease, which essentially means that there's a chance that occasionally something will flare up, but it's unpredictable, irregular, and it will probably not be too bad right away, but it'll probably get worse over time if I have this. Do I actually have it? I don't know, but I am assuming probably because the medical professionals told me so. So that's my conclusion, okay? Either way, what happens with this, with MS disease, I think, from what I remember, is it's a problem with your autoimmune system where your autoimmune system reacts defensively to the coating, protective layer around your not neurons, whatever. God, I forgot what it's called in English. One sec, let me hold up. Let me pull up a tab so I can hold up. Nervous system. That's it. Here, boom. For your Dutch people, I didn't know what it was called in English. The nervous system. Their nervous system obviously runs through your entire body. It's like pretty thin. I mean, we can look at a picture here. See, boom, nervous system. These are like, you could kind of compare it to like computer like cables where you have like the little copper like things in the middle with like a rubber or plastic coating around it. Essentially the same thing. You have the neurons with a little coating around it, and like said, with MS disease, I think, from what I recall, your immune system reacts negatively towards part of the coating, or like there's something wrong with your immune system where it affects the coating around the nervous system, which can damage it. Now, thankfully, from what I have been told, it's been better. Like, I had follow-up scans about this, and initially the white spots were pretty big. Not like super big, but like this, if you look at this brain image, the left like rounder one, the bottom like right is like the biggest it would get, and like there were smaller ones. The second time or the third time, whatever, like I had like a couple checkups, they got smaller, but they say that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna go away. It could mean that it's just less effective now. Maybe it'll go away, because they don't know for sure if I have multiple sclerosis or whatever this is called. We just call it MS. I think it's pretty well known. Either way, yeah, that's why I wasn't in Blockwars 3, guys. I had to drop out of a Minecraft event because I potentially have a lifelong autoimmune problem with my body, which is fantastic news. It was a very fun thing to hear about, just out of nowhere. By the way, it doesn't run in my family or anything. It just kind of happened out of nowhere. I don't know. That's why I was confused, and that's why they're like, oh, well, we can't conclude it because it doesn't run in your family, so who knows? It could be a fluke. It's like, oh, what do you mean? You're the medical professional. Didn't you graduate freaking university? How do you not know? Like, hello? Bro, I play video games, okay? Like, how am I supposed to know? Either way, I'm fine. Like, this doesn't affect my day-to-day life. I do have to take, I did get blood tests done, and from there it concluded that I have a vitamin D deficiency. So I do take vitamin D supplements relatively frequently, like every other day, because the one I have is a 500% dosage. Now, I don't know how vitamin D, like, absorption in the blood system works exactly, but I don't want to overdose on vitamin D. Obviously, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but, like, you know, if it's like 500%, I'm sure it'll deplete over time within the system of my body, and eventually, like, you know, by day 2, when I don't take it, it'll probably be sufficient, and then I take another one the day after, whatever, right? So yeah, how has this affected my life? I take vitamin D supplements now, and I have to do little checkup scans frequently-ish, once or twice a year. I think the last one I had was in either December or in the summer, or October. I think I have one in the summer, which is before somewhere in June, but it's early, so I don't have to worry about it with TwitchCon. Either way, yeah, that's what happened. Okay, this is what happened. Now you know. Now you know. I've fully explained, hopefully, what happened, and hopefully y'all understand. You don't have to feel super sorry for me, because, like I said, it doesn't really affect my day-to-day life right now. But if it will, if I just randomly disappear for a couple days, and with disappear I mean, like, from the entirety of everything. If you don't hear anything from Mogulmill's stream, me and other people's streams, Twitter, whatever, assume that this probably had an effect on it somewhere. Anyways, I hope y'all understand. And yeah, back to fun things now. Back to fun topics. We have a couple more Block Wars to talk about. I don't know if there's much to talk about for the couple next ones, but there's probably something. I at least know we'll be able to talk about rookies, because that was interesting. But and maybe Block Wars for a little bit, because of a certain substitution that we had to deal with here. But either way, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.